All right, everybody. It's time to wrap this Demolition League up and move on to bigger and better things. Of course, just the regular season is being wrapped up. We are heading into the playoffs, and of course, the top four teams in the league make the playoffs based on their 54 game schedule and their record after 54 games. So I thought I would do a show or not a show, but a video to wrap that up and put a bow on the regular season and then head on into the playoffs. So, as you can see, it is Stratomatic Demolition League 2015. Regular season is over. And let's look at, first of all, the league leaders. Before I get to the standings, we'll do the league leaders. Robinson Cano won the batting title with a 343 average, beating out Michael Brantley by 2 points, who had a 341 average. Home runs, David Ortiz won the home run title with 19, beating out the Todd father, Todd Frazier, who had 17. Todd Frazier did take it to the RBI title, beating out Brantley 54-42. Hello, Cleve baseball fan, Tribe fan. How are you? And as we get to the pitching, we'll look at the pitching stats. The Cy Young Award winner in this league was Matt Harvey. Matt Harvey ended up with a record of 7-0 with a 1.64 ERA. You can see here, where'd it go? Yep, 1.64 ERA. It was also 7-0. So he wins the Cy Young Award, and Robbie Cano wins the batting title. Now let's look at the final standings. And as we can see, there was a tie for the top. Cleveland and the Mets tie for the lead. So we have to break that tie. And there's also three other teams tied at 4 games back, 30-24. That's a total of 5 teams, but we can only have 4 in the playoffs. So we had to go head-to-head. First tiebreaker is head-to-head. Second tiebreaker is run differential. The Mets and Cleveland. If we look at their head-to-head, Mets and Cleveland, the Mets, 3 wins against Cleveland, which means they also had 3 losses. So that was a push. So nothing decided there. We go to run differential. Cleveland was a plus 62. The Mets only a plus 20. Ergo, Cleveland gets the number 1 seed, and the Mets are the number 2 seed. That was pretty easy to figure out. The second part is going to be not so easy. We got 3 teams for 2 spots. It almost feels like the NCAA tournament selection show, doesn't it? 3 teams for 2 spots. Seattle comes out of nowhere and sweeps Tampa the last 3 games of the season to get to this point. And if we look at head-to-head, Seattle, head-to-head against Boston, has a 5 here. That means they were 5-1 against the Red Sox. And over here against Houston, they got a 4. They were 4-2 against Houston. So they automatically get in because they have the straight-up advantage against both teams. So now it comes down to either Houston or Boston. One of those 2 teams is not going to make it. So we go to Boston and look at how they did against Houston, and we see we have a 3, which means they split their 6 games. So that first tiebreaker is a push. Second tiebreaker, run differential. Boston has a run differential plus 24, but Houston has a plus 41. So Houston gets in as the number 4 seed. Seattle gets in as the number 3 seed. Boston is eliminated. The Mets are the number 2 seed, and Cleveland is the number 1 seed. So semifinal number 1 is going to pit the 1st seed Cleveland against the 4th seed Houston. Semifinal number 2 is going to be the Mets against Seattle. The higher seeds get the home field. It's a 5-game series, best of 5. It goes 2-2-1. So the top seed gets the home field for the first 2. The lower seed gets the home for the second 2. And if it goes to a 5th game, it goes back to the home team's field. So that's the way the season wrapped up in the regular season. And that's why when we move everything out of the way, we see that we are set up for the Cleveland Indians and the Houston Astros. They will be the First game of the playoffs, semifinal number 1, with Cleveland as the number 1 seed getting the home team or the home spot in the first 2 ball games. Okay, let's look at the starting pitchers for both teams. For the homestanding Cleveland Indians, Corey Kluber will get the start. And for the visiting Houston Astros, it'll be Dallas Keuchel. And as I look at their numbers on the regular season, Dallas Keuchel was 6-4 with a 1.82 ERA. Corey Kluber was 3-3 with a 1.93 ERA. So both starting pitchers' ERA is under 2. So you would think that might lend itself to a lower scoring game, but you never know. Both offenses are pretty good as well. See how it plays out. We've got our dice Indians colors, blue, white, and red. We got our starting lineups right here, the benches, and the bullpens for both teams, so you know who's available and who is not. So let me get everything else straight here. I got Tabby out of the way. She was a little bit in my way there a bit, but I think she's moved on now and found some other place to sit, so won't have that issue to worry about. All right. Might not be able to see the Houston positions because of the light orange, in case you cannot. Yes, Brian B., they got swept by the Mets the last 3 games. I'll show the standings again. They did get swept by the Mets. You can see here for the Reds, it shows they lost 3 in a row. That was to the Mets. So the Reds dropped to an even 27-27, and they missed the playoffs. Boston lost out in the tiebreaker. There was 5 teams that were really qualified, but Boston lost out in the tiebreaker due to run differential. So Series 1 is Cleveland and Houston, and Series 2 is the Mets hosting Seattle. So that's where we stand right now. And I think we're just about ready to go. Like I said, if you can't tell, I'm looking on my computer screen. The orange for the Houston lineup is kind of light. So it's Altuve at second, Springer in center, Gonzalez at first, Correa at short, Valbuena at third, Gaddis the DH, Tucker in left, Conger catching, and Rasmus in right field. And you can see the Cleveland one's pretty easily, I think. And again, Cleveland dice right there. Oh no, midlife. We're going to do travel days between games 2 and 3. And between a potential game 4 and a game 5, it's going to be travel days like they would be in real baseball. So I'm going with strictly a 4-man rotation because of that. Hello, Robert. How are you? Always the Astros. I know that's just the way they did it in this 2015 season. They hung on and got in by the skin of their teeth. They beat out the Red Sox on run differential. That was the only thing that got them there, was the run differential. All right. I think everything is set to go. Tabby's where she's supposed to be. So warming up on the mound is Corey Kluber. And in case somebody missed it, came in late, the regular season of the Demolition League, Corey Kluber was 3-3, but his ERA was 1.93. So very, very effective. And leading things off will be Jose Altuve. And also, in case you missed it earlier, for the individual awards, I'll go in one more time. Robbie Cano won the batting title by 2 points over Brantley. He hit .343. Ortiz won the home run battle, 19-17 over the Todd Father, but the Todd Father won the RBI crown, 54-42 over Brantley. And in the pitching, Matt Harvey was the Cy Young Award winner. He was 7-0 with a 1.64 ERA. So kind of hard to beat that for sure. All right. Let me check and make sure everything is fitting okay. I think it is. It looks like everything fits as best I can tell. So we are ready for some baseball. It is Jose Altuve. This is game 1, best of 5. And it's Jose Altuve Yes, the bank. There were no trash cans involved, at least not that I know of. But yes, they did get in by metrics because of the total run differential. All right, the playoffs are now underway. 3-7 Altuve. 3-7's a ground ball to short, one away. Handled by the shortstop Lindor. So one down. Good idea to keep Altuve off the bases. George Springer in center field in this one. We got a 3-11, and 3-11's a ground ball to second, handled easily by Kipnis. So 2 ground balls off the bat of the Astros as Kluber is inducing those ground balls. Marwin Gonzalez can play a little bit of everywhere, but he's playing first base in this game. Against the tough righty Kluber, they sat Chris Carter at first, and they're going to use the switch hitting Gonzalez. 4-7 against Kluber, struck him out. That's a 1-2-3 inning for Corey Kluber. Puts down the Astros in easy fashion. And we go to the bottom of the first. It's the Astros nothing and the Indians coming to bat. And Dallas Keuchel will be the pitcher for Houston in Game 1. He was 6-4 with a 1.82 ERA in the regular season. And a little bit of shuffling of the lineup for Cleveland with the lefty Keuchel on the mound. They sat the lefty Matt Bourne, and they also sat left-handed hitting Chisenhall. So they moved Lindor up to leadoff, which is a little bit unusual for him. I could have put Almonte up there, I guess, but I got Almonte in the number 9 spot, which is kind of a pseudo secondary leadoff hitter. But Francisco Lindor played well, so he gets the honors of batting leadoff against Mr. Keuchel. Hello, Larry Harris. How are you doing, sir? Chris Carter would be in there, but the problem is Cleveland has no left-handed starters, so he's going to probably be riding the pine most of the series and used off the bench. Keuchel, the lefty, 1-9 to Lindor. He flies to left, and that's one away. So Lindor is retired on the fly to left. One down for Jason Kipnis, lefty on lefty matchup. Kipnis does pretty well against lefties, though. We get a 2-5, but not this time. He strikes out. So Keuchel. And I expect a pitching duel. Both these pitchers had ERAs under 2 in the regular season. So they were, pretty spot on. The win-loss record, surprisingly for Kluber, was not very good. Even Keuchel wasn't that good. They just didn't get a lot of run support in their starts for whatever reason. Here's Carlos Santana. He's trying to change his evil ways. It's a 6-2 switch hitter batting right-handed. That's a ground ball to short. Handled easily by Correa, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. Down go the Tribe here in the first. One inning in the books, and it's no score from Cleveland. Again, it's advanced only, so there's no ballpark effects. But for your mind's eye, we are at Progressive Field, or it might have been Jacobs Field. I'm not sure what it was in 2015. Probably was Progressive Field by then. I don't know. Don't remember. Maybe Cleve baseball fan can remind me in 2015 whether I think they had switched over to Progressive Field by then. All right, here is Carlos Correa, the shortstop, against Kluber. We got a 4-10 against Kluber, right-handed, fly ball to right field, one away. Progressive Field. Okay, that's what I thought. Progressive Field. One down as Correa flies to right. And that'll send up to third baseman Luis Valbuena. We get a 4-6 against Kluber. Struck him out. 2 down. So both pitchers on their A games right now. Not to use a APA term, but it's an A game. And that'll bring up the DH, Evan Gattis. Thought about using Chris Carter as a DH, but I decided to go with Gattis. Kluber, 6-6, struck him out. Didn't matter who I was going with. He fans. So third strikeout in 2 innings for Corey Kluber. 6 up, 6 down go the Stros. We go to the bottom of the second, no score from Cleveland. Keuchel back out. Will be facing Michael Brantley, probably close to the MVP. Robbie Cano probably is the MVP because he helped Seattle get into the playoffs out of nowhere. But Michael Brantley certainly had the MVP numbers. On the season, Brantley hit .341. He was only 2 points away from the batting title. He was also second in RBI. So when you're second in batting average and second in RBI, you're doing something pretty good. So Brantley was tough for sure. And he can hit lefties. That's not a problem for him. Keuchel 2-2. And that's a hit by pitch plus injury. That's trouble. Brantley could be injured for the playoffs, and that's not a good sign. That would not be a good sign. So let me get my injury chart. And the Indians fans are definitely hoping that there's no injury here, but that's why it's a demolition league. Anything can happen. And if he is injured, of course, the Indians will get a chance to add somebody to the roster, take his place starting in Game 2. But again, batter injury. Roll 1d20 and see what happens. It's a 3, so he's okay. He's going to stay in the game. So Michael Brantley shakes it off. Shakes it off. He is hit by the pitch, so he will be on base. Michael Brantley is on first base. Taking one for the team on a hit by pitch. Don't think it was intentional. And that'll bring up the right fielder, Ryan Rayburn. He's in there against the lefty Keuchel because he hits lefties pretty well. Brantley runs. He's an ace stealer, so he's going to be looking to run because Conger does not hold runners or does not throw well at all. Conger is a +4 arm, but he's in there for his offense against Kluber. But it's a +4 arm, so we start Brantley. He's an A, which means as an A in advanced, he starts as a 15. Being held makes him a 13. But then the +4 from Conger makes him a 17. So 1 to 17, he's going to go. And he's in there. Stolen base, Michael Brantley. So Brantley exacts a little bit of revenge from being hit by the pitch by swiping second base. So Brantley is in scoring position with nobody out. And Ryan Rayburn, the batter. Brantley will be held at second base. 6-5. Keuchel against a righty. It's a ground ball shortstop X. The shortstop is Correa. He's a 2. 2 and a 12 might be an error check. In fact, I'm almost positive it's an error check. Let's take a look here. 2 and 12. It is an error check. 7 to 13. Anything between 8 and 12 is an error check. So error check on Correa is an E22. And that's a 7. E22 and a 7 is a G ground ball A. So runner will have to hold. As Rayburn cannot get it to the right side of the infield, he gets it to the left side of the infield, and Brantley frozen right there, couldn't do anything. One down for Jose Ramirez, the third baseman. Hey, Brian B. In case I hadn't seen you earlier. Here is Ramirez. Keuchel 6'4", gets the switch hitter batting right. Another ground ball shortstop actually going right back to Correa. He's a 2. 2 and 11 going right to his error check again. Or are we? Yeah, I think we are. Let me double check that again. Yep, we are. Anything between 8 and 12 goes in the error check again. He is an E22. And rolls 7. I think it's the same thing we just rolled last time. E22 to 7 is a ground ball A. So it's like Groundhog's Day. And there's 2 outs with the runner still at second base. So that's 2 times that the Indians have been unable to move Brantley up a base. He's still stuck at second base with 2 outs. And the designated hitter, Mike Aviles, he's DHing because of the lefty on the mound. He hits lefties pretty well. So Mike Aviles is up there. 4-7. Struck him out. So Keuchel pitches out of the mess. The leadoff hit by pitch and stolen base goes for naught. And at the end of 2, it's no score from Cleveland. So Keuchel took matters in his own hands pretty much on that one with the strikeout. And that'll bring up the Astros bottom third of the order, Preston Tucker, left fielder. Preston Tucker. That's a 1-7, and Tucker grounds to short, one away. Kluber retires all 7 so far. And that's going to bring up Hank Conger, the catcher. Better hitter than Castro, but definitely not better defensively. But he hits pretty well against righties, so that's why he's in there. 4-10, switch hitter batting left. 4-10 struck him out. So Kluber still on his A game. 2 up and 2 down, and that's going to bring up Colby Rasmus, left fielder. It's a 4-8 lefty. That's a walk, so Colby Rasmus will draw the 2-out walk. He's an E Steeler, so he will not be going anywhere for sure. But he is the first Cleveland base runner. I'm sorry, first Houston base runner. And that'll bring up the top of the order in Jose Altuve. Rasmus not going to be held on. Altuve grounded to short his first time up, 5-7. This time he strikes out. Kluber rings him up, and that's going to end the third for the Astros. They come away empty-handed. We go to the bottom of the third, still no score. Pitching duel so far between Kluber and Keuchel. Due up for Cleveland, catcher Yan Gomes. It's pretty much split time with Roberto Perez, so what I'm going to end up doing most likely is flip-flopping them every game, have Gomes catch one game, Perez catch the next, and so forth. So here's Keuchel to Gomes. 2-11, ground ball to short, one away. As Correa throws out the slow-running Gomes. That'll bring up the man acquired late in the season, Abraham Almonte, center fielder. Switch hitter. 2-8 against the lefty. He flies to center. Easily put away out there by Springer. 2 up and 2 down. Now we go back to the top of the order for Lindor. (4-2) against the switch hitter batting right-handed. In super advanced, we'd have a split here, but in advanced, it's just a fly to center, and that's going to end the inning. And I do kind of miss not playing it super advanced, but I said I was going to do this advanced from the get-go, and so I want to be consistent. So we go to the fourth, and coming up for the Astros will be George Springer. He grounded to second his first time up. Is there too much glare? Let me see if I can turn this light off. Maybe that will help with the glare. I don't know. We'll see. I'll pause this for a second and see how it does. If it makes any effect at all. Maybe a little, maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. All right, so here's Springer. 2-7 against the righty, and that's a ground ball to short. One away. 1 down, and that's going to send us to Marwin Gonzalez, switch hitting multi-positional player playing first base today. Marwin Gonzalez struck out his first chance. 4-6, switch hitter batting left, strikes out again. So Kluber again, another strikeout number 6 for Corey Kluber. He's racking up the Ks, the K corner. That's 6 of them. And here now is Carlos Correa. 5-8 against a righty. That's a 1-4 double. That's a 7, though, so it's going to be a fly to left, and that's going to end the inning. So Kluber keeping it going with the success. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Still no score. Keuchel trying to match him pitch for pitch. Jason Kipnis, the batter, the leadoff for Cleveland, followed by Santana and Brantley. This is Game 1 semifinal. The other semifinal that'll be played a different night is Seattle and the Mets, and the Mets will get the home field as the number 2 seed. And that's going to be King Felix against Jacob deGrom in game 1. 6-9, Keuchel against the lefty struck him out. So Kipnis is 0 for 2 with 2 Ks. And not very Kipnis-like, at least not compared to what he did in the regular season. Here's Santana. 2-8 against the righty, struck him out. So Santana, against the lefty, struck him out. Didn't matter, he struck it either way. It's an ambidextrous strikeout. So 2 up, 2 down for Michael Brantley. Brantley was hit by a pitch and stole a base, but stuck at second base. To 2-10, and that's a single. So again, Michael Brantley reaches. And again, he's going to be looking to run because he's the ace stealer, and Conger's a +4 arm. See, we already figured out it's a 17, 1-17. And it's a 1, so it's possible throwing error on Conger. His T rating is an 11. And it is a throwing error, so Brantley will take third. So Brantley, not only does he single, he steals his second base of the game and goes to third on the E2. So with 2 outs, runner now at third base for Ryan Rayburn. So Keuchel trying to pick up his teammate as best he can. 4-8 against the righty, and he walks Rayburn. So maybe a chink in the armor coming up here for Keuchel. Rayburn is an E stealer. He will not be held. And it's going to send us to Jose Ramirez. With runners on the corners and 2 down. Scoreless game here in the bottom of the 4th. But Keuchel in trouble. 3-7, switch hitter back against the lefty. 3-7. Ground ball shortstop A with a plus sign on it, but the runner on first was not being held. So it will not get through a hit. It will be an out. In fact, we'll just call it a 6-4 fielder's choice to end the inning. And the Tribe threatened but can't go through or come through all the way against Mr. Keuchel. So we go to the 5th, no score. And Corey Kluber back out. Kluber's a 7 and Keuchel's a 7 as far as fatigue goes, so no problems, obviously, so far to start the 5th. Luis Valbuena, the batter. Hello, Mr. RJL. And Robert, since you came in late, the playoff matchups, I'm playing the number 1 seed Cleveland against the number 4 seed Houston. And the other semifinal, it'll be the number 3 seed Seattle against the number 2 seed Mets, with the Mets getting the home field advantage in 3 of the 5 games. Game 1 of that series will be Felix Hernandez against Jacob deGrom, just to get you caught up. This game here, we're starting the top of the 5th, no score. Kluber, 3-5. Valbuena against the righty, 3-5 is a single. And as they say, there goes the no-hitter. Kluber had the no-hitter going until that time, and Valbuena broke it up to start the 5th. Takes care of that. Valbuena E stealer will not be held. And that's going to bring up Evan Gattis, the designated hitter. (1-4) for Gattis. That in Super Advanced, we were doing a ballpark check, but in Advanced, it's a ground ball B, which is a fielder's choice. So Gattis grounds to third. And Ramirez will flip over to Kipnis for the force. And Gattis is the new runner at first, and he's an E stealer. He will definitely not be held. And Preston Tucker, the batter, with 1 out. (5-6) for Tucker. Kluber against the lefty. It's a single, 2 stars. So threatening now are the Astros as they're starting to, the 3rd time through the order, they're starting to get to Kluber a little bit. Runners are at the corners. Preston Tucker, an E stealer, he will not be held, but trouble in the making as the catcher, Hank Conger, will be stepping up. He is a good double play candidate. So infield is going to play back for the double play with one out and runners on the corners. Kluber 4-9, switch it to batting left. 4-9. That's an in-home run chance. 1-7. That's an 11. It's a double for Hank Conger. And the Astros are the first ones to break through as Gaddis comes in to score from third. Tucker not being held as an E-stealer. He runs at an 11, so not being held make him a 12. The double is assumed to go to center. Center fielder arm for the Indians is Brantley. He's a -2, so they're going to hold the runner at third. So holding at third is Tucker. But second and third, one out and one is in. Astros lead 1-0. And the infield will now have to come in for Colby Rasmus. So it seemed like when RJL got here, Kluber started messing up. So we can't blame that on him. So it's just coincidence. Infield is in. Kluber 3-7. Rasmus 1-4 is a single. Anything else is a ground ball A. That's a 16. It's a ground ball A. Runners hold. So by playing the infield in, the runners had to hold. And now there's two away. So a big, huge out there. But he's not out of the wood to work yet. He's got to deal with top of the order and Jose Altuve as the Astros try to add to their lead. 3-7. Ground ball shortstop A with a plus sign, but nobody's being held on. So the plus sign doesn't means the ball does not get through because nobody's being held on. It's just going to be a ground ball to short, and the inning is over. But the Astros do break through for a run, and we go to the bottom of the fifth. 1-0 Stros over the Tribe, and Dallas Keuchel now will get the benefit of stepping up with a lead. And coming up for the Indians, it'll be the bottom of the order. Aviles, Gomes, and Almonte. So Aviles, the DH, will be the first one stepping to the plate. 4-5 against right-hander for Keuchel. 4-5 is a strikeout. So Keuchel keeping it going. One down. It's going to send up Yan Gomes. 5-4 against a righty. That's an in-home run chance on a 1-5. He does have weak power, though, so it wouldn't be a home run. That's a 1, so it's not going to be a home run. He's got weak power. I know it's hard to see on these cards, but Yan Gomes has a little W there. He's got normal against right, weak against left. So for whatever reason, I don't know why he's like that, but I guess that's how the numbers played it out. So Gomes will get a single. He will not get the home run because of the weak power. So Yan Gomes, and he will not be held as an E-stealer, obviously. And that'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Abraham Almonte. Keuchel 3-7. Almonte switch hitter against the lefty. Ground ball shortstop A with a plus sign, but he's not being held on, so it's a 6-4-3 double play to end the inning. And the Indians catch a bad break there, but at the end of 5, it's 1-0 Stros from Cleveland as they try to steal a road game here in Game 1 of the series. Kluber looking for some run support. That's why even with the 1.82 ERA, he still was only 6-4 because in some of the games he pitched, he just didn't get the run support he was hoping for. So coming up for the Astros will be George Springer. And that's a 3-5 against the righty Kluber. 3-5 is a strikeout, so Springer is out of there. Another strikeout for Kluber. One away, and that's going to send us to Marwin Gonzalez, first baseman. Gonzalez 0 for 2. He struck out twice. 3-7 against a righty, and that's a single, so he makes up for it this time with a base hit. So Marwin Gonzalez gets on. He's a D-stealer. He will not be held. Only holding C and above. So here's Carlos Correa. That's a 4-9 against the righty, and that's an in-home run chance, 1-9. That's a 1. Correa has normal power, and as RJL would say, kaboom. Carlos Correa, a 2-run shot, and the Astros now take a 3-0 lead on the Tribe. Maybe there was a trash can involved, maybe there wasn't. I don't know, but he's took that would-be Kluber fastball and turned it around big time. And the fans not very happy. As RJL would say, stadium groans. Here's Luis Valbuena. 3-9 for Valbuena. Ground ball to second, and that is out number 2. 2 down for the designated hitter, Evan Gattis. Gattis is 0 for 2. He struck out and reached on a fielder's choice. 3-0 Astros now. 4-5 against the righty is a ground ball shortstop X. That is the shortstop Lindor. He's a 1. 1-20 is a good play all day long, and the inning is over. But the 2-run homer, courtesy of Carlos Correa, gives the Astros a 3-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the 6th. And now the Indian fans are a little bit concerned. Keuchel's enjoying some run support. And Kluber's wondering where his is. So coming up, it'll be the top of the order for the Indians. Francisco Lindor to lead it off. Lindor flew to left in the first, flew to center in the third. 3-6 rather against the switch hitting, or the left-handed pitching Keuchel. Is a single for Francisco Lindor, so he's aboard. And again, with Conger in there as a +4 arm, he's going to be looking to run potentially. Although the numbers aren't quite as good as a B stealer. He starts as a 13, but you lose 3, gives him a 10. But then the +4 from Conger gives him a 14. Down 3-0. Do you try to steal on a 14? They're going to try to be aggressive. Terry Francona says go. And he does. It's a 3. Possible throwing error on Conger, who's a T11. That's a 16. Is not a throwing error, but it will be a stolen base for Lindor. And sometimes the philosophy is when you're behind, that's when you're aggressive. Got to make things happen. So he's in scoring position with nobody out for Jason Kipnis. He, of course, will have to be held on second base. Keuchel 1-8. That's a ground ball, second base A with the plus sign. So since he's being held on, that's going to be a base hit. Base hit. And that's going to score the run. RBI single from Jason Kipnis. As Lindor comes around and makes it a 3-1 game. As Cleveland gets on the board, tries to respond in kind to the Astros. And now they've got something cooking. Kipnis, a B stealer. He will be held, but he won't go anywhere. They're going to let Santana swing away. 1-11, and that's a ground ball second base C, so the runner will move up on the ground ball C. So Kipnis will take second base on the 4-3 ground out. 1 down, and that's going to bring up Michael Brantley. Chance to drive in another run if you're Mr. Brantley. League's leading hitter in the regular season. Actually, he's second. He was 341. He was 2 points behind Cano. Keuchel 3-6. Brantley against the lefty on a 3-6. Pops to short. Huge out there for Mr. Keuchel to keep that runner in check. Brantley could not get it done. And now with 2 down, it's going to be up to Ryan Rayburn, the right fielder. Last chance in the inning for the Indians to try to dig into that lead. 6-6, and that's a single to right field. So Rayburn comes through with a base hit. Let's check and see if Kipnis can score. Kipnis runs at a 15. He was being held, makes him a 14, but there are 2 outs, makes it a 16 Right fielder arm is Springer. -2 is a 14. So 1 to 14, he will score. 14, he slides in safely. So RBI single from Ryan Rayburn makes it a 3-2 game. So Cleveland has answered the 2 by Houston with 2 of their own here in the bottom of the 6th. And now business is picking up. And that'll bring up Jose Ramirez. Rayburn E-Stealer will not be held. Hello, Al. How are you doing? 1-7 against Keuchel. Ground ball back to the pitcher. That's going to end the inning. But 2 runs come in. 2 runs come in for the Indians to close the gap to 3-2 after 6 complete. And now we go to the 7th, and this is the fatigue inning for both pitchers. So bullpen activity is going for both teams, and you can see who's in the bullpen for both teams right here. Those are the 7 bullpen guys that made the playoff roster. So that's who they have to choose from. The Indians in their bullpen will have right-hander Brian Shaw and left-hander Kyle Crockett loosing in the bullpen. Double barrel action. And coming up for the Astros in the top of the 7th will be Preston Tucker. He will lead it off. Bottom part of the order, Tucker, Conger, and Rasmus due up. 3-9, and that's a home run chance, 1-19. We're not doing ballpark effects. That's a 12. It is gone. Kaboom, and that's going to be it for Corey Kluber. Maybe put him in there 1 batter too many, as Mr. Tucker just sends that into the Erie, or to the Cleveland Progressive Field nighttime. Fans are fighting for it, but it's long gone. And now Hank Conger, the switch hitter, is coming up, so Cleveland has to figure out who they want to use in the bullpen. This is a switch hitter. And then following him is a lefty, Rasmus. So they're going to the left-hander out of the pen. So bullpen action for the Indians as Corey Kluber's night is done. And they will turn to left-hander Kyle Crockett. Kyle Crockett is in the ball game. His job is to get him through this inning, or at least a couple outs this inning. See how it plays out. Kluber is going to go 6+ and give up 4 runs. And he is on the hook for the loss if the Indians don't come back. So Conger will be the first one to face Mr. Crockett. Lefty on switch. Oh, Suadice will re-roll that. D20 went way out of there. All right, 6-12, and that could be an injury check for Crockett. 6-12. Let's see, but he pitched so little. His injury probably is much higher than that. Let's see, Crockett. What is his injury? Where are you, Crockett? I don't even see Crockett on here anywhere. Well, since I don't see it, or don't see him on the list, I'm going to ignore it and just drive on. All right, so 6-12, switch hitter against the lefty. Switch hitter 6-12 against a right-handed batter is a ground ball pitcher X. He is a 4 with an E0. So if we 4 in a range play of a 7, it's going to go to his error check, which is a 0. So just a ground ball A, 1 away. 1-3 ground out. Conger is retired. And that brings up the number 9 hitter, Colby Rasmus. Lefty on lefty matchup. Shaw is still in the bullpen, ready to go to face Altuve, most likely. So Crockett might be in there just to face these 2 batters. Lefty on lefty matchup. 4-7, lefty on lefty. 4-7, single 1-13. That's a 4. It is a base hit for Colby Rasmus. And that's going to be it for Crockett. He goes a third of an inning, gives up a hit, and he is responsible for the runner on first base. And Brian Shaw will be coming in, the right-hander for the Indians. Again, this is not 2023, so there is no minimum batter faced required. So he can face 2 batters and come out, which is what he's doing. And Brian Shaw is your relief pitcher for the Indians. And he'll be facing the top of the order, and Jose Altuve. Rasmussen E. Steeler will not be held. So no worries there about having to hold the runner on. So Jose Altuve steps in. Runner on first and 1 away. Here in the top of the 7th of a 4-2 game. 1-5, Altuve. That's trouble. 1 is a triple. Anything else is a double. That's a double. So it's a double for Jose Altuve. And they will hold the slow runner at first to third base. They'll just keep him there with only 1 out. First 2 outs they descending, but 1 out they're not. So second and third, Shaw may not be the answer. George Springer is your batter. Infield's going to have to come in. So infield is in. Nobody's being held on. Infield is in. 2-11 for Springer. Ground ball first base C. We'll check the infield in. And this is the one part that I do use the super advanced book for. And on a ground ball C, runners at second, third, infield in, we get a 1, which is batter out, runners hold. So nobody's thrown out, just runners hold for 2 down. So nice play there by Shaw to get Springer to ground it right to the first baseman, Santana. Checks the runner, and now there's 2 away. And they still got to deal with Marwin Gonzalez, so he's not out of the inning yet. A base hit could blow this thing wide open. Shaw, 4-8 against the switch hitting left-hander. 4-8 is a fly to right. That's going to end the inning. It's a B, but that was the third out, so that's going to take care of that. The Astros will get the run on the home run from Tucker. And we go to the 7th inning stretch. I'm not singing or doing anything like that. I might stand up and stretch for a second, but nothing really out of the ordinary. It is 4-2 Houston. And let's see, Shaw will keep pitching, I think. Or will he? I think he'll stay in there. He only pitched 2/3 of an inning, faced 3 batters, so I think he's going to stay in there and at least start the 8th inning. This is Keuchel's fatigue inning, his beginning of his fatigue inning. So got to keep an eye on that. Mike Aviles, the DH, coming up for the Indians. Try to get something started against Keuchel. Pat Neshek, the right-hander, is loosening the Astro bullpen in case Keuchel should falter. 3-12 for Aviles is a low max. Line out second base, but nobody else is on base, so no double play or anything like that. Just simply a line out. Hit it hard, but right to Altuve for out number 1. And that's going to send up the catcher, Yan Gomes. (2-6) for Gomes. Struck him out. Keuchel doing his magic. 2 down very quickly. Top of the order. I'm sorry, not top of the order. Number 9 hitter, Almonte. Abraham Almonte. Number 9 hitter. He's 0 for 2. Do they pinch hit for him? Let's see. He's 0 for 2. What did he do in the regular season? 264 hitter, so we'll leave him in there. He's got a good column 3. And he plays good defense. But it's a 1. He found column 1 instead. 110. That's a ground ball to third to end the inning. As Valbuena throws over to Gonzalez. Easy 5-3 ground out. 7 innings in the books. It is still 4-2. Favor the Stros. Brian Shaw is back out. And now Neshek has sat down. Will Harris has started to loosen. He's a setup guy. Will Harris. He sets up Gregerson. So Harris is loosening in the bullpen. And coming up for the Stros here in the top of the 8th is Carlos Correa. He had that big 2-run homer in the 6th that at the time gave the Astros a 3-0 lead. Shaw to Correa, 3-7. Ground ball to short, 1 away. Shaw's job is to keep it right where it is and give his team a chance. 1 down for Valbuena. Luis Valbuena. 6-8 for Valbuena. Shaw against the lefty, 6-8 is a walk. So Luis Valbuena will draw the walk, 1-out walk. And that's going to bring up Evan Gattis. Powerful right-handed hitter, Evan Gattis. 6-3 against the right-hander. That's an in-home run chance, 1-14. That's a 5. Kaboom! He's got normal power, does Gattis. It is gone. He cranks it up against Brian Shaw. 27 home runs on the regular season in 2015, and that he found that one right there on Shaw. We're not doing ballpark effects, so that number fits. And it's a 2-run bomb, and all of a sudden, things are going from bad to worse for Cleveland fans. It is now 6-2, favor the Stros. And Brian Shaw is going to be lifted. That's maybe went to one batter too many, but he's coming out of there. And they will go to the other left-hander, Hagedorn, to face the left-handed hitting Preston Tucker. So that's going to be it for Brian Shaw. And it's going to be Nick Hagedorn, the other lefty, in the bullpen. They used to have Mark Chebzinski, but he got traded to San Diego mid-season, so he's not available. So it will be Hagedorn coming in. Lefty on lefty to Preston Tucker. 4-8, and he struck him out. 1 down. Or 2 down, actually. 2 down. And that'll bring up Hank Conger, catcher. One 6 against the lefty, struck him out. So Hagedorn comes in and strikes out both guys he faces as he pitches 2/3 of an inning and takes care of business. But business may be all over with because it is a 6-2 ball game as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Bottom of the 8th we go. And the Astros will make a defensive change as Hank Conger will come out. And they will go to their better catcher, Jason Castro. Look at Castro defensively. He's a 2-E1, whereas Conger was a 3-E1 with a +4 arm. Castro's got a -1 arm. So Castro will be the new catcher to take over for Conger. Not that Cleveland will be looking to run this late in the game, being down by that much, but they still prefer to have the better defender. And Keuchel's day is done also. He goes 7 innings. And they'll turn it over to the bullpen, and they will turn it over to right-hander Will Harris. So Will Harris will be coming on to pitch for the Astros. In back of Keuchel, who stands to be the winner. Keuchel goes 7 innings, gives up 2 runs. All right, coming up for Cleveland, it'll be the top of the order, Francisco Lindor. Hello, Mr. Clinton. How are you, sir? Rear Admiral, as they say. Harris to Lindor, 2-8 against the righty, ground ball to short. So Harris takes care of Lindor, 1 away. Brings up Jason Kipnis. And so far, Cleveland bats have been pretty much dormant. 4-8 against the lefty, struck him out. Will Harris getting it done, 2 down. Not a safe situation, but they still may use Gregerson anyway because you're just playing 2 games and you get a day off, so for travel. So In a short series like this, you can use your closer back to back. Here's Santana. 6-6. And it's going to be a fly to the left. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Will Harris. We go to the ninth. It is 6-2 Houston. Seemingly comfortably in front of the Indians. Now for the Cleveland Indians, they will go to their bullpen. And they will use, who do they want to use here? Let's see. They're going to go to Jeff Manship. So Manship is going to come on. He will be the fifth pitcher used by Cleveland in kind of a mop-up duty. And he'll be facing Rasmus, Altuve, and Springer, one lefty and two righties. So Colby Rasmus will lead off, top of the ninth. 4-11, and against the lefty, that's a strikeout. So Manship gets the strikeout, one away. And that flips the order over to Jose Altuve. Altuve doubled his last time up. He's 1 for 4. 5-9, and that's a strikeout. So Manship strikes out both batters he has faced. 2 quick outs for George Springer. And we're going to have a defensive replacement in the ninth inning for the Astros as well. 5-4 against a right-hander. 5-4 is a ground ball third base X. That is Ramirez. And Ramirez is a 3. 3-12. Most likely an error check. For third baseman, a 3-12 is an error check. His error rating at third base for Ramirez is E14 and a 4. E14 and a 4 is a one-base error. First error of the game, and it's turned in by Jose Ramirez. So no 1-2-3 inning for Manship. Springer will be held, but up 6-2, he won't go anywhere. And Marwin Gonzalez, the batter. Get a 6-4 against the switch hitter batting left. 6-4 is a fly ball center field X. That's Almonte. And Almonte is a 2. 2-18 is a good play, and that's going to end the inning. So Manship does his job. He holds the fort. Although the fort might be in trouble already. And we go to the bottom of the ninth. Will Harris will leave. And let's see who they want to bring in. They may bring in somebody else other than who they had decided to bring in earlier. They may not go to Gregerson. Let's see what they want to do here. I think they're going to go, actually, since it's not a save situation. Who's coming up for Cleveland? It is Brantley, Rayburn, and Ramirez, a lefty and a couple switches. They will actually go to left-hander Tony Sipp. So Tony Sipp is actually going to come on for the Stros. And if he gets in any kind of trouble, they do have Gregerson loosening in the pen. But they're going to go the lefty Tony Sipp with lefty Brantley coming up, followed by Rayburn and switch hitter Ramirez. Now on the bench, Chisnall's a good hitter, but he's left-handed. Ursula, Johnson, and Perez are and Bourne's a good pinch runner, if anything else. So pretty much not a whole lot there on the bench, unfortunately. And some defensive changes. George Springer will move to right field, and Marisnik will take over in center. He is a 1 in center field. So Marisnik is the new center fielder, and Castro is the new catcher. Didn't mark that before. Castro's the new catcher, and Springer moves to right. And the new center fielder batting ninth is going to be Marisnik, as they just want to shore up their defense in the bottom of the ninth. Here's Michael Brantley. As RJL would say, will there be any ninth inning magic? 1-8 for Brantley. Lefty on lefty against Sipp is a leadoff walk. So there you go. You got to start somewhere. A long journey starts with the first step. And there you have it. Brantley's aboard. He will be held as an A stealer, but he will not go anywhere. And Ryan Rayburn is your batter. Sip will still face Rayburn. 6-6, and that's a strikeout. Big strikeout there for Tony Sip. One away. He's going to bring up the third baseman, Jose Ramirez. Gregerson is ready in the pen if needed. 5-8 against the switch hitter batting right. 5-8's ground ball, second base X. That is Altuve. He is a 2. 2 and an 18 is a good play. Probably going to end the game. 2 and an 18 for a second baseman. A 2 and an 18 is a ground ball A. That is a 4-6-3 double play. Ball game is over. Tony Sip does not get the save, but he does wrap up and finish the game. And it will keep Gregerson ultra fresh for game 2. So a 6-2 final. 6-2, Astros with the win. Keuchel gets the win. Kluber gets the loss. There is no save. Let's see if I can total things up real quick for you for totals. Let's see, for the Astros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got them for 9 hits and no errors. Cleveland made the only error. That was on Ramirez. Cleveland won. I'm sorry, no. Astros did make an error because Conger threw the ball away on a steal attempt. So they did make an error. My bad. So 6-9-1 for Houston. And for hits for Cleveland, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got them for 6 hits. So officially, Houston beats Cleveland 6-2. And line score unofficially, 6 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for Houston. 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for Cleveland. Winning pitcher Dallas Keuchel. Losing pitcher is Corey Kluber. Do I have a date for the... Yeah, Friday. I can do Friday night, probably. I would think so. If you're going to be off that night, that frees things up. I might do like an 8 o'clock Friday night thing and do the little show to set you up for game 2 of the series. It'll be Carlos Carrasco going for the Indians. And it will be Colin McHugh going for the Astros. That's the game 2 matchup. Next video on the channel, though, will be... let's see, what's today's Tuesday? Will be probably... I'll probably record it instead of doing it live. I'll probably record the Mets and the Mariners tomorrow and post it on Thursday, most likely. Unless I get the itch to go live again, which I don't know if I will or not. We'll wait and see. But next game will be game 1, which would be Jacob deGrom against King Felix from Citi Field. But here, Houston reclaims the home field advantage as they knock off Cleveland at Progressive Field by the score of 6-2. Dallas Keuchel the man, 7 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, and that was it. And offensively for the Astros, 3 home runs. Correa, a 2-run shot, Tucker, a solo shot, and a 2-run shot from Gaddis. So take your pick there of player of the game offensively. But Keuchel, I think Keuchel gets the player of the game for shutting down the Cleveland lineup for holding just 2 runs over 7 innings of pitching. I'll give you a little foreshadowing of the Game of the Week selection show. I'm going to do it just like RJL did it, or try to do it as close as he did it. I'm going to have 4 categories. I'm going to have 1947 up through, I think it's sometime in the early 70s. That's going to be one block. And I'm going to have, so it's done by year, basically. So I'm going to have like 72 or 73 up through the 80s, and then 90s for the block 3, and then 2000s for the block 4. 9 in each of the 4 categories, and I'll do like RJL did. I think what he did took a 4-sided die and rolled the 4-sided die, and whatever came up, that was the stack you go to eliminate one of the teams. So you've got 9 teams there. You roll like a D10 and you go 0 through 9. Whichever team 1 through 9 rather, as long as you don't roll a 0. 1 through 9, that's the team you pull out and eliminate, and you get it down, whittle it down to 1 in each stack, and that's the final 4, and that's what I'll put up to a vote. And I'll also, out of those, whatever 4 wins from those 4 things, I'll also make a note and say what game engine I have the cards for. Because it could be a season could win that I just have it in replay, or I just have it in strat, or I just have it in payoff pitch, or something like that. So I'll also make that note there, so that might affect voting. Not necessarily for a season, but if it's in a game system that you prefer, then maybe that might influence the voting as well. I did take out 88, obviously, because of RJL, and I took out 86 because I just did 86 last time. So those 2 seasons have been eliminated. 77 is in there, 82 is still in there, but 86 and 88 are gone. And I think the earliest season I have is 47 up through 2019. So, and anything in between, I've got gaps in there, but I've got quite a few. I think I counted 36 seasons, so between the different game engines. So 47 is the earliest, all the way up to 2019, and I'll just, whatever the dice say, that's what we'll go with. So, but when I get to the final 4, I will say, all right, if 1957, for example, ends up winning in that region or in their little bracket, 57 I only have in replay baseball. So that might determine whether you vote for 57 or not, because you might not like replay baseball. I don't know. You might love replay baseball. One or the other. Could be something from the 2000s I only have in strat. So the only one I have that I just have APA is 1978. So if that wins, then it'll be APA. But other than that, I've got several seasons in multiple game engines, but a lot of the seasons I just have in one game engine. So we'll see how the dice go with it. So there you have it. And Boston Red Sox fans, I know, are kind of disappointed because they got kicked out by the run differential. There were 5 teams that were tied, or 3 teams that were tied for that 3rd, 4th, and 5th spot, but run differential was a tiebreaker, and Cleveland Houston outdid Boston, so that's why they were eliminated. Seattle outdid them both because Seattle head-to-head won the series against both of those teams. So the next game will be game 1 of the second semifinal. It'll be the 2nd-seeded Mets hosting the 3rd-seeded Mariners. Jacob deGrom against King Felix. So that's it from here. It's getting kind of late. I got to get ready for bed and get ready for work tomorrow. Like I said, I'm not as comfortable live streaming as RJL is. I'm more comfortable recording, but decided, what the heck, let's try this. We'll see how it goes. So thank you for everyone who came in while we're going live, and for those that will watch it later. Until next time, final score, again, Houston 6, Cleveland 2. And RJL, what is your next game for Inside Pitch? Who's the next your next game for tomorrow night? Who is that? Who's playing in that? Isn't it the Giants and the Reds? Is that what it is? I think it's the Reds and Giants, if I remember correctly. So tune in to RJL Network tomorrow night. Inside Pitch for San Francisco and Cincinnati at the stadium by the front of the river. And as he gets down to it's a replay of the September 21st game, 1988, as he dwindles down into that final playoff push in Inside Pitch and Fast Score Baseball. So, till next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it. And as usual, I will see you down the road with the Mets and Seattle, and then the selection show on Friday night. Good night, everybody.